Okay, before we start the meeting, I'd like to do an introduction. As many of you know, or I know everyone up here does, Michelle Cohn left, the Main Street director left a few months back. Took a job up in Ohio, and the board of directors down there did their interviewing and landed on a new director. And Becca, you want to come to the podium and tell them a little bit about yourself and how you got here.
Am I going to sing?
Yeah, you can sing if you want.
Hello, everyone. My name is Becca. I live in Rising Sun, but I want to be a part of this City on the Rise. So here I am. I've been here for a month now. I've learned a lot. I've met a lot of really awesome people like Scott over here. And we have a lot of plans, and we're just getting started. So first of all, our sip and shop, I don't know if you're attending that, but we would love to have you. And that's going to be on Friday. But just keep your eyes open for all of the Main Street events coming up, because they're going to be good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Becca's getting sort of baptized pretty quickly. We met today with some folks regarding Music on the River and things, and I told her, I said, right now just sit back and take in all you can and learn what you can, because once June, it's really busy, but she's up for the challenge. And
I can't imagine being busier than I have been already. Oh. But I know it's coming.
Well, it's a lot of fun.
Yep.
So thank you. And we look forward to having you here and working with you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yep, and if anybody needs my contact information or has any questions, our office is just right down the street.
Oh, they'll get a hold of you.
Okay. All right. Well, it was good
Thanks,
to meet you guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
Yes.
Okay, with that, I'd like to call to order the Lawrenceburg Board of Works meeting for February 3rd, 2025. I want to say happy birthday to my little brother, Kevin. It's his birthday today.
Yeah, you missed his party Saturday.
Yeah, I got on Christy about that. Yeah,
That's
they,
surprised. I had to go to a birthday party.
they scheduled that party when Curdy and I both were out of town.
I know.
Yeah, pretty nice people. Anyway, yeah. Can I get a roll call, Mr. Petty?
Sure can. We got board member Tommy Roulette,
Present.
board member Brett Bondurant.
Yes, sir.
Attorney Dale Wilden.
Here.
President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okay. I have no announcements for this particular meeting, guys, unless you do.
I have none, Mayor.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second it, Mayor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business, we got Mr. Weldon, EMS lit contract.
Thank you, Your Honor. If it pleases the Board of Works, and Chief Tremaine is here today to answer questions and kind of explain how we ended up here, but essentially this is a contract that we do every year, but this year Chief Tremaine had an opportunity to kind of drill down some of the key parts in conjunction with the county, make some edits that Chief and I thought were, and they all came from Chief, would benefit the city and the fire department, and so those were accepted. Those terms, especially the ones that kind of delineate coverage area and car. But Chief, you kind of, just from your perspective, what this agreement covers, and why we're good with it.
Since the lit tax was introduced, we had the benefit of receiving some funds from the county. Well, this year we went over to meet with some representatives and at the county, and they talked about the chase unit. So they ended up and told us they wanted to give us the additional $175 for our chase unit. But at the time we were talking, they said, you know, you guys can use the chase unit to cover the southern half of the county, and Bright will cover the north. Well, at the time, Bright didn't have one, and that's where I come up with kind of outlining on paragraph number 2 that outlines the southern part of the county. So there's going to be times we're going to have to, the Chase unit will have to venture up, but I just don't want to be committed to the whole county with that. So, but yeah, with the influx of money, it's really, and the contract has grown too. And what they're trying to do at the county is hold more of the department's feet to the fire on making calls. So this is basically a standard contract that all services are getting. The only thing that's different is the items we changed, and paragraph 2, 3, and 4, and 3 and 4 is just the money.
It's what we like. Okay. Any questions, guys? Tommy, anything?
Have none.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the EMS SLIC contract.
So moved, Mayor.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Next is, yes, you're welcome. Thank you, Chief. Riverfront construction contract.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please, the Board of Public Works and Safety, what you have in your packets today for review and approval are all of the formal documents controlling the Riverfront project. So there's an A201, an A133, a B133, and exhibits. There are 2 sets of those. We thought it was best to divide the project into what we call wet side and dry side. The B133, if we kind of start backwards, the 2 B133s are the wet side architects and dry side architects. So because we had 2 sets of architects, the Moffitt and Nickel is the architecture firm that's doing the wet side design, including the diverter arm. And then American Structure Point is doing the dry side architecture work. So that's why you see 2 sets of all the documents. And the A133 are the 2 sets of documents, wet side and dry side, but both with Maxwell Construction. A201 is the general terms that these documents all can refer back to. Exhibit A will end up being our guaranteed maximum price when we're ready to have that presented to us, and we approve that in the form of a change order and an amendment to the A133. Exhibit B is the insurance and bonds. We, of course, vetted those through sites and Mike Abden to make sure that the coverages were acceptable to the city. The Exhibit C is the A201 document itself, and then the Exhibit D is the scope. So what we did with the scope was we did our best to define the design work to date, general conceptual design, and then split that out between the 2 firms, Moffitt Nickel and American Structure Point. I think the key elements to pull out that you guys have kind of already identified, dry side for Maxwell is 2.25% of whatever the GMP ends up being. That's in Article 6 of the A133. And wet side is 3%. So that was a proposal made by them to us, which actually offsets and creates less of a fee for the dry side, more of a fee for the wet side of that work.
Pizza.
Is a little more, that'd be good, is a little more specialized. The pre-construction fee for Maxwell is $15,222. There were a couple other items that we negotiated, but this controls the terms of the relationship with the construction manager and allows the construction manager to refer back to either architect, depending on what kind of work, and then for the 2 architecture firms, the dry side work, there's a total lump sum fee, and wet side work a total lump sum fee. We'll say that out of those fees, most of that money has already been paid, but we included all the money to date and all the contracts to date just so we can refer back to them. Kind of the best way to think of it, and the way I always look at these kind of projects, is the architect ends up being our representative throughout the process. So again, we're using the CMC process, construction manager as constructor rather than traditional design build, which allowed us to have Maxwell Construction engaged before the DMP to work with the 2 architects to get a better price and then a solid price price a cap. We'll have a not to exceed number, rather than just bidding and seeing what the market yields. We'll have a substantial completion date, so we'll basically know the cost and the time. That's a big benefit of the CMC delivery method. There is self-performance work that Maxwell can do. And then after the GMP is delivered and all the design documents are done, then American Structure Point and Moffitt and Nickel, their role shifts to being our advocate with Maxwell. So when Maxwell can say, we built this, we're 10% complete on the project, we'd like to be paid 10% of our fee. The architects will actually look and confirm that, so they'll do payouts, they'll confirm percent completes. If there's any dispute, if we say, hey, you were supposed to build this and you built this, then they actually step in and serve as dispute resolution. So they serve as our advocate throughout the project to make sure it's built exactly as they designed it, exactly as we wanted it. And so these documents control those relationships before, during, and after the GMP and throughout the final completion of the project.
Just a note, they're only paid for what they do. If something happens and the project goes south, they're only paid for what they've done.
So with Maxwell, what is in here and what we've negotiated is if the city terminates the project for convenience, meaning we just end it because we just want to end it, and it's less than 50% done, then they get their cost plus $100,000. What we kind of threw out there at the beginning of negotiations was, hey, you just get your costs and walk away. If it's more than 50% done, that is true. They just get whatever their costs are, Maxwell does. But they were adamant and very fairly so that if they spend this time, dedicate their resources to our project, and it gets less than halfway done and we kick them off the project, just again, by our own choice for no reason, no outside factors, then they get a $100,000 early termination fee in addition to their costs. I've been working with an attorney that just does these big construction contracts just to make sure, hey, is this 2.25% fair? Is it high? Is it low? What about the early termination? And he was very clear, hey, there's no way any construction company would take on a project like this if they thought we'll get less than halfway done and we don't get all we get are our costs, because they have an opportunity cost because they passed up on other jobs. So he thought that was very fair. I had him check all of this to say, hey, you work in the industry, you do big projects for big cities, big private companies. Can you make sure all of these terms are fair in the industry since you do this only for a living? I thought that was important to you guys to know that we had these all double checked, and that's been the process to date. So he's signed off on all of this. And so have I. Maxwell has worked with us throughout the process, and so have the two sets of architects. There's a third set of architects just for the restaurants, but they're working underneath Maxwell's, or underneath American Structure Points. They don't have their own contract. They're essentially a sub-architect for Structure Point.
Questions?
I have several, if I could, Mayor.
Yep.
First, I'd like to start with Maxwell. We entered into that contract with them February 5th, 2024, and that was pre-construction. At that time, we give them a dollar amount of $146,250. The monies that we are talking about now, is that money's coming out of that $146,250? Because if it is, they're actually higher than what we allotted. I come up with $152,210 with the $15,222 and the $136,988.
So there,
So that my question again is, are these monies coming out of what we accepted when we accepted them as a CMC?
what is the 136,988?
That's on 133, and that would be on Moffitt's side.
Okay.
That is on page 12. It's under compensation 5.1.1.
My understanding, Mr. Gillette, is that 15,222 is all they're getting, but I will double check that, and if that's not true, then I'll bring it back.
On pre-construction.
On pre-construction.
Pre-construction.
But then they're getting a flat fee of 15,222 for pre-construction, then they're getting a percentage of whatever the GMP ends up being. And that's the two percentages, 2.25 dry side, 3% wet side. I'm not aware of any other fee that they would.
Well, that's what I seen, or again, it was on, page 12.
Yeah, I'll take a look here, but if it's different than what I just
They
said,
got
then
compensation for construction manner, pre-construction phase service in a lump sum of $136,998. And that, again, I'm asking, is that coming, these $2 amounts coming out of what we set forward when we accepted them back in February?
Well, to me, it sounds like it should,
That's what I was saying, yeah. Okay.
because they're relatively close in numbers. But what I will say is, there's been a lot of extension to this project.
Yeah,
So there's a cost to do that.
okay,
Hopefully that ends pretty quickly.
yeah. The other thing with Maxwell as well, we figure this, and I'm just throwing a number out there, may be a $20+ million project. Do we feel that the insurance amounts that they listed in their 133 Exhibit B under insurance and bond is sufficient enough?
yes, and that's coming
that?
from sites.
Okay.
So the sites double checked it, and the contractor didn't deal with the sites was the
Okay.
main person. that we wanted to
That was going to be something I was going to ask. I know I don't sit on this board, though, but it's only a $1 million policy, right? So we think that would be enough to cover a $30 million project?
No,
Or is there bonds?
It's not for, that's not what we get, but that's for, like errors and omissions and stuff, right? Well, because
Yes.
Okay,
it's not to, they're not insuring the project.
that's what I was
I mean, 'cause the
thinking it
project
was.
Is,
Okay.
yeah, the insurance is on the bonds from the contractors.
Okay.
Anything that left out.
yeah,
That's where you'll get your guarantees at, Bill, on that.
so the way it's broken down, I mean, those different coverages are for individual events, but the project as a whole, a payment performance bond. And then one of the things you'll see in the contract are any damages would be, if there are damages that occur for failure to perform or perform incorrectly, then that would be resolved through litigation. So the insurance is to cover different work comp, they're covering liability on the site, they're indemnifying us, holding us harmless. They have bonds that are payment performance bonds that flow from them and also to the subcontractors as well. So it's handled in two different ways.
My next question would be, and again, I'm not on the board, but why would we want to approve a contract with no GMP? What if the price comes back to $50 million or something?
We're not approving the contract. These folks are working right now with no contract. And I don't think anybody should work without a contract.
Well, and what the important thing to remember about this kind of project is that if we once we get to the GMP, we're waiting on certain things to even allow us to get that GMP number. So we can't even obtain a GMP until we get through all of our kind of preliminary.
We can't get a GMP until we get the letter of sponsorship from the LCD and the 408 from the Army Corps. Then Maxwell will give us a GMP.
And then if we don't approve the GMP, then the project just dies.
But wouldn't we
They go
still,
back.
but the way that the contract's written, we would still have to pay them for their time and cost plus $100,000,
Up to
right?
then.
No. So the time and cost up to 100,000 only occurs after the GMP. That's a good question.
Okay.
And so we're protected in case we don't get a GMP that we can approve or that we like. So, and that's another function of us.
Project
all
doesn't start till after a GMP is approved.
That's right. Yeah. So we're able to renegotiate at that point, GMP timing, all of the things that we want in the project once they present those numbers to us. And they do that in conjunction with the architects. That's why we know we've got a good number. And they bid out the tier 1 subcontractors, so they know what the market's going to pay. Not all of the subs, but they bid out the top tier subs when they give us the GMP. They can't do that until we're ready to move forward. We can't move forward until we get all of our pre-project permitting.
Well, how close are we allowed to talk about that?
It's not up to us.
You know as much as we do. You were in the same meeting.
I thought you guys might have known something by then, something different.
We have done everything they've asked us to do, so hopefully soon.
Okay, moving on to American Structure Point. Again, April 18th of 2022, we approved them for $275,200. I see in their B-133 that there is a price of $519. I'm just trying to figure out how this is working. If we've got this number in there, why is this number here?
So they've added, both architects have added to their costs because of how long the pre-permitting process has taken. So they've added to get to 519, that we'll have we'll end up with 2 contracts with them essentially that'll all roll into here. And you'll see with Moff and Nickel, there's actually 4 contracts that roll into this. Their total is $899, but
Yes, I see that
but
as
they've
well.
been paid all but $360. So we've paid them all but $360, and then we've paid American Structure Point the number you just gave, 519 minus that number, so we owe them the balance. And that's a direct reflection of how much work we've had done on pre-permitting, redesigning, meeting. That's cost us a lot of money and time.
My only comment is with my office, these are a lot of numbers, and I'm not involved with any of this stuff. I have no, I mean, I think that my office should understand these numbers.
Yeah.
As far as what I need to pay out and how much I need to pay out to each one of these people. I'm not involved in any of the meetings. I have no clue where, and it kind of go along with what Tommy's saying. I don't understand these numbers.
Yeah, that's what
And I just haven't been explaining them. I can understand them if I'm explaining them, but I want to know, because we set up everything over there. Anytime we start a project, we set up different vendors, and I got a contract and at least a sheet in an Excel, and basically every time we make payments, we keep track of these things, and I got to know where I'm going, and I have no clue. And this was a ton of information, and
Yep.
it's like the average person's not going to get it, and I'm the average person.
We would want everyone to know, and so really the only thing that we owe right now are the balance of the architecture fees, which we don't know them yet. Those are paid as they go, as we've done so far.
Yeah,
So
just somebody help me
we've been
understand.
paying them. Yeah, so it's just, we're gonna pay really the only costs that you're gonna see before the GMP, which we'll all do together in this room. So we'll all know and approve together what the actual big cost is, the cost of the project. The preliminary costs are just the pre-construction for Maxwell and the dry side and wet side, Moffett Nickel and American Structure Point architecture contracts, which we've already been paying them under the traditional contract.
Yeah, and
Now we
like I
pay
said,
them under these.
That's one of those, I mean, like, anytime we sign a contract, I make sure it's signed, I make sure they get documented, I make sure that basically we keep track of that. But if these things are intertwined,
Right.
I don't know how.
Yep.
I don't know how to keep track of that. And I just need some help on that.
Are they covered under the old contract that they have, or what's the point of these new ones, I guess?
Yeah,
Could you
so-
walk me through it?
Yeah, and that's why for the scope document, the Exhibit D, and this will help you, Mark, too, is I went ahead and attached the 4 Moffett and Nickel contracts and the 2 American Construction Point contracts, because we've been working just under generic contracts so far and paying them as they're working. So the first 3 Moffett and Nickels, we've already paid. The 4th one, which looks just like the other ones, is what we still owe. The first American Construction Point is what we've already paid. The second American Construction Point is what we still owe. And that's in your packets under the Exhibit D document with the pictures. That's our scope document. So you can refer to either document to see how much we owe them, and they have to break down what their costs are. It's not just you pay us the money, it's here's what we're actually doing for the money. It's broken down, all 3, even Maxwell, they break down every single person that works for them and how much per hour. But again, remember, all we're agreeing to is to keep paying the architects, which you already have been paying, and we've got their old contracts and this new contract, and to just pay Maxwell the pre-construction fee. We're not agreeing to pay them the big fee, the construction fee, the percentage, because we don't know what that is yet. They've got to still bring us the
Yeah, you don't know
GMP.
that till you get
Then
there.
we've got to say whether we like the GMP or not, the cost and the timing. And Dylan, to answer your question, the reason we're doing this is because, and the reason it is so complicated, and it for sure is, and lots of documents and words, it's just so it covers anything that could ever possibly happen. And AIA is the contract template that every construction company and owner or city architects they use throughout the whole country. Someone designed one that said everyone can use this one because it covers everything that could ever be covered. That's why it's so long and takes so long to read it and get through it. It's because it covers anything that could ever possibly happen. And you'll notice in your version, only where you see like the dark gray is where we've changed anything.
Right.
Anything else was already in there. So we just go in and we say, okay, what are the little things that we have to change to be particular to our project? All the other things are universal, but they protect us. They also protect Maxwell. They also protect Structure Point, Moffitt, and Nickel. So for you, Mark, we'll, and Mayor and I'll come over and we'll
Yeah,
all kind of go through it together.
Yeah, I'm not complaining, I just want to make sure that I
No, yeah.
got everything straight.
Well, and I want everyone to
I mean,
Yeah, that would
Tommy's
help me
concerned
too.
Yeah.
As well, better understand it, yes.
Yeah.
My only concern is I worry about putting the cart before the horse because we haven't had the LCD approve anything. I worry, or the Corps of Engineers. So that's the only reason why I have concern.
And we've addressed that specifically, so I've had, and just kind of, and the value of having someone, actually I went through 2 different attorneys because I wore the first one out, but having someone that does this kind of thing for a job as a lawyer only represents big companies and cities and big projects like this is because we wanted to anticipate any kind of issue that you might have or problem that may have. So we did 2 things specifically. I asked for 2 things, and I said, here's what we want. He helped me figure out the language. We've timed our timing to the Army Corps approval. So if we didn't have to wait on all the permitting for over a year, which is very unusual, like the pavilion, we would say, okay, we're going to put in 18 months, let's say, from when we do all the contracts till you're done with the pavilion, and that's fine. Everyone would be comfortable with that. We've got a variable where we don't know. It's already been a year, it could be another year, it could be tomorrow. So everything times out from when we get Army Corps approval. So none of the clocks start running until we get Army Corps approval for some of these where there could be like a delay if they wanted to come and do re-inspections or something. So we've contemplated in these contracts that we've got LCD and Army Corps that need to be happy and kept happy during the project. And that wasn't reinventing the wheel because we just did Whiskey River, but we put in specific protections. So I guess for tonight's approvals, it's important to know that you're not agreeing to anything other than what we've kind of already agreed to. We're just putting in a different language because we're just paying Maxwell for work they've already been doing for the last over a year. And same with Structure Point, Moffitt, Nickel. They've already been doing all this work, so we're only paying for the pre-construction for Maxwell and what Moffitt, Nickel, and Structure Point have already been doing. We're not paying for anything in the future. That's all still to be determined. But once we get the GMP, we just add it to these documents and all of our legal stuff is already covered.
So in layman's terms, as you stated earlier, some of this money has really already been spent.
Almost of it.
Yes, right, okay. We'll see how, again, as Mark said, I wasn't aware of that, and the numbers just weren't with what we set forth in contract stuff, it was different, that's why I was questioning it.
Yeah, we're on our 4th
And-
contract.
And I'll agree with
Moffitt and Nickel.
what Mr. Little said. I did have I was a little reserved too on if we get the 408 and the blessing from the Conservancy, but it really, as the mayor stated, we really just need to get these people under contract.
Well, they've been working without a contract.
Right. Right.
And this money would come out of the Riverfront Development Fund, which we budgeted pretty much all of it
Yep,
for this year.
right.
And the last thing I have, and I know sounds sort of picky. But when I look at some of these documents and they got the year 2017,
Yeah.
and things like that, I know these are drafts. When they are finally written up, will they be updated to these years, or is that just the years that they have on these for a particular reason?
Yeah, so that just means 2017 was the last time they did a new version of that contract.
Okay, gotcha,
So
gotcha.
they don't do a new one every year, so whatever the most current version is, we use, or sometimes we use the old version, and that's like more of a headache, but like when I did the school project, we used the version one time before, but everyone agreed to it, so that just is a reflection of the version of the AIA contract, which AIA wrote, American Institute of Architects.
Well, I feel like I've been educated a little bit tonight.
I mean, it's very daunting when you first see it, but then
Yeah.
it's good because it, like I said, it covers anything that could happen for all. So we're protected, Maxwell's protected, architects are protected.
And some of these contracts have to do with the engineers, and I know it's been, what's it, a year since we met with them?
Yeah.
It's been a long time. Do they plan on coming back and
Oh, yeah, well,
showing us stuff and different things like that? It just seems like I.
well, the next
I can't
step,
even-
the next step is the GMP.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's when the next big meeting will be, to discuss the GMP, but we can't get to that until we get those other two things satisfied.
And they'll be back to show us everything that's going on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So have we heard anything back from the attorneys or whoever from LCD on whether they're giving us our
I've been a
blessing?
part of the email chain. If you remember the last meeting, when we had that meeting with them, I asked Mundell and Associates about, now, there won't be any additional questions. And I don't know that there's been additional questions other than questions to the questions that they had asked, if I can say it that way. No new questions to any new topics. But the questions that they asked were responded to right away by our folks. And then there were a list of more questions from Mundell regarding the answers to the questions that were responded to. And that's the last I've seen. So I believe that the latest is in Mundell's court to answer the second responses.
Also, Del, thank you for answering my questions. I know I don't sit on this board, but I was just curious.
Well, you have a right to know, and the public does too, so do everything together.
Okay. Questions? How do you want to handle the, the approval of these? Are we going to do them in how many different documents?
Your Honor, I would approve it all as one if it pleases the board, just because it's just one thing, you know. But you can do them separately if you like. I mean, again, it's the A201, two A201s, two A133s, two B133s, and the set of exhibits which are tied back.
They're all the same, or into the same document?
It's really just one thing, the way I look at it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I feel comfortable with that. I mean, I did what I could as far as reading them and stuff. I'm sort of understand them. And as I stated earlier, I've learned a little bit more here tonight, so.
Okay. All right, then the motion will be, entertain a motion to approve the riverfront construction documents that you have in front of you.
So move, Mayor.
Second?
I'll second that, Mayor.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Thank you.
Them are considered the
Thanks for the
contracts,
explanation.
correct?
Yes, sir.
So, Dale, you will get those signed,
Yes.
and you will come over with your notebook and pencil and explain everything to me
Yes, sir.
within the next so many days?
Yes.
I mean, what do you think? I mean, within a week or,
I can come over tomorrow and we can go through them together.
but you can't get them signed. I mean, just when you get them signed.
Yeah, because I'm going to send them to Structure Point, Muffin Nickel, and Maxwell tomorrow.
And that
So
way
when I
I'll-
get back from Maxwell, I'll back.
And that way I'll have copies.
What about next Monday?
Yeah, that's fine. But
We've approved it, so we can go through it tomorrow if you want.
well, I just wait for the signatures. That
Okay.
way because I have to have copies of all of it too.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. One item under new business I wanted to bring up to the Board of Works. It just happened today. We got a letter of resignation from a current police officer. So Jenny is going to be advertising for a police officer position, so I wanted to make you guys aware of that. In fact, I'd like to get a form of a motion to give her the authority to go ahead and do that. Obviously, you know, police positions don't get posted internally, but it'll be posted externally or advertised externally, so if I could get a motion to do that.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you. I have no other new or old business for Board of Works. You guys got anything?
No, I have nothing, Mayor.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved, Mayor.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That
I hope I
motion
didn't wear
carries.
you out.
No, good question.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the Lawrenceburg Utility Board meeting for February 3rd, 2025. Mr. Fetty, if I can get another roll call?
All right, we got Board Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Board Member Dylan Little.
Present.
Board Member Tommy Roulette.
Present.
Board Member Lenny Fryan.
Here.
Board Member Brett Bondurant.
Yes, sir.
City Attorney Dale Bell.
Here.
President Kelly Malone.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, I have no announcements for the Utility Board this evening, unless someone else has something. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Tony, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Mr. Fetty, it looks like we got some write-offs, residential account write-offs.
Yeah, the residential accounts, we do this every year. Anything 2 years or older, we have to write off. And in your package, you'll see the list of what we have that's greater than 2 years. Any questions, comments on that one? And I want to treat the other one a little bit separate because it's something new from the State Board of Accounts.
So the, just need, any questions about the residential write-offs? If not, entertain a motion to approve the residential account write-offs.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is outstanding inactive refunds.
Yeah, now, with the State Board of Accounts came up, and they said, hey, if it's an actual inactive refund, those have to be written off every year. Not really written off, but basically they have to be sent in, and you have to take them off your book every year. And it's not that we're not collecting any of this money, because we're still trying to collect everything, or basically pay it out if they want to claim it. But the inactive refunds have to be sent in every year now, per State Board of Accounts.
Okay.
Does it go to the Indiana unclaimed funds? Is that where it goes?
Yep.
Okay.
So that's a separate motion there.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the outstanding inactive funds.
So move.
Mayor.
Oh, second.
Second, Dylan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, Mr. Kavanaugh, come up. This is the Bodie Drive Lift Station Letter of Recommendation. If you guys remember, we had, what, three bids at the last meeting, and we were going to have BF&S and yourself take a look at them and come back with a recommendation.
Correct. So BF&S and I both got together and looked at, over the three bids. We ended up going with the lowest bid, which would be Howard Excavating, for $85,860.
Okay.
He had all of his I's dotted and his T's crossed, and everything was included in the contract, so.
That's
Definitely a win for,
that's a win for us.
yeah, absolutely, it's a win for us.
Compared to the other two bids, I was a little wondering about that, but
So what you're saying is those engineer estimates for those other two big
Yeah.
projects we got, we think those would be about half?
Yeah, yeah, I'm hoping,
hey,
Help BF&S, hey,
yeah,
come on.
yeah.
that's a good question.
That was a question I was going to ask.
Yeah.
You know, they thought that this project would be a 200-plus job, and then it came in that low, and it just, and that was with boring, correct? More so than digging.
I'd ask for,
The 200 and some thousand was more boring than digging. With the open dig,
Changed from boring to digging, that's where the cost came down.
Correct.
You had to revisit this.
correct, because,
how do they not know that if they're
Yeah,
an
it-
engineer company? That would be my biggest question to them.
Right.
You know, I would be, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, if I was in charge, I'd be upset with them.
right, well, and like I said, in the other cost that the reason it come down with the open digging is because we agreed to replace the blacktop ourselves through our contract because it's so much cheaper. You know, had the contractor have to do the blacktopping himself, that would have drove the cost of the project a lot higher. So we are going to incur a little bit more cost to this project out of, for repairing of the streets, of the asphalt.
Done that with either one of these three.
Yeah,
Right, because we had elected some time back to where if someone
Right.
has a problem with their lateral,
Right.
they fix it, we're repairing the street. So I,
the Probst one though was mostly boring. There was only one dig site up by the manhole, so there wasn't gonna be any ditches in the road.
Yeah.
The other two are digging the ditch through the road.
okay.
Well, my question would be, why is this so expensive boring? It seems like that would be a little cheaper.
Well, I mean, you got the equipment you gotta pay for, the man you gotta do, the unknown. There's a lot of utilities in the street that they can't actually see, so they have to cover their cost in case something goes wrong and they tear something up.
Well, that sounded to me like an excuse, but
Right, but that's,
I don't,
yeah.
I don't know.
How many of these have you done over the years?
You might be surprised, Mayor.
Me too. Okay, so you're, through BF&S and yourself as well, Garrett, you're recommending Howard Excavating at a cost of $85,860 for the Bodie Drive lift station elimination. Any questions regarding that?
Hopefully, no change orders. Hopefully, we don't see any change orders.
Just tell them we're not gonna approve it.
I'm pretty sure we had it all covered. It was,
I'll
Make
make
it a
that,
motion.
I'll make that motion to approve, Mayor.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Garrett. Thank-
Um,
Oh,
yes, if it pleases the board too, I want to let you know, we have Elm Street and East High Street are scheduled to be asphalted through the CCMG program.
Correct.
Well, those have two water mains, old water mains underneath them. So we're going to replace those
before we do that.
before we put, Elm Street, as Tony would know, that we've repaired a couple water services on it here the last couple years. So if we asphalt that, it's probably just a matter of months before we dig up brand-new asphalt.
We went out for engineering on that, but also that was in our capital projects.
Correct. So it's going out, right, it's going out to, announcements are going out tomorrow. And we're gonna try to get the bids back by the 24th.
I met with Hunter today, and there's money available to do that, those two water mains.
Yeah. Also going out tomorrow is Lift Station 12 rebuild. We're gonna solicit bids for that to,
12
Is
is
the-
48 and 50.
correct. Yeah, the one by the power plant.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Any other new or old for utility board folks? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So move, Mayor.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. And what about a motion to approve payroll reports and checks once properly certified?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. I need a motion to adjourn this particular meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to call to order the City of Lawrenceburg City Council meeting for February 3rd, 2025. If y'all could rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance Takes Lenny a little bit longer to get up these days.
Rick and Mortis, I played golf today. I'm sore.
Yeah, and I guess, yeah. How about a roll call, Mr. Fetty?
We got Councilperson Tony Abbott. Here. Councilperson Dylan Little.
Present.
Councilperson Tommy Roulette.
Present.
Councilperson Lenny Fryman.
Here.
Councilperson Brett Bondurant.
Yes, sir.
City Attorney Dale Weldon. Here. Mayor Kelly Malone.
Here. Okay, announcements. I'm going to go with board reports, streets, alleys, and curbs downtown. Mr. Abbott?
Streets are in good shape, but I would like to say after this freeze and thaw, a lot of our curbs are cracked and
Yep.
missing, and I think the snowplow might have taken out a couple
There
places.
was a
but-
list given to Ashley and them this morning.
Okay, I was gonna ask if Brad or Mike could take a trip around town.
I think they got a pretty good list.
Alrighty,
Yeah,
that's it then.
I actually drove around this Saturday, the wife and I, and we seen those, and I called Ashley first thing
Street
this
Supervisor Tom.
I just happened to see them, so I called Ashley this morning.
He did.
I asked her, you may want to go look at some of these curbs.
Yep.
Did the concrete pop, or did we hit them?
Yeah.
And she did say she documented them all, as the mayor stated. So,
No.
yeah,
No, I appreciate people doing that, so.
I was just driving around, I was bored.
I hear you, brother.
I want to come back.
What about up on the hill, Mr. Fryman?
Well, I will say everything's pretty good. We don't have anybody running on our curbs up there. And like Tommy and them running around, him and Tony's been hitting them down here.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Finance Department, Mr. Von Durant.
Oh, good.
All right, Parks and Playgrounds, Mr. Little.
Busy with nice weather the last couple days.
Yeah, today, about 70 degrees.
Yeah.
Then 40 tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
How about the fire department, Mr. Rollette?
No report, Mayor, other than if you guys did see Mr. Tremaine's report, he has got a new format, and I really like that.
Yeah. He's moving up in the world.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
As long as it doesn't go to his head, Mayor.
He's high tech. High tech, Mr. Tremaine is. One announcement that I have is State of the City address at 1 o'clock this Friday at the Liberty Theater. If you all have an opportunity to attend. I have no other announcement. Oh, we do have February, March winter cleanup going on. February is about taken up from my latest report about 4:30 this afternoon. There are some openings for March.
Now, is this something new we're doing?
We actually did it in January, used to, and we postponed it because of the bad weather.
Gotcha.
Now,
Yeah, we had the spring one.
Yes.
now, how does this actually work? So everybody will know.
It's the same way it works for the spring. There, you call and reserve a dumpster.
Reserve a dumpster. Okay.
That's what I mean. In February, I think there's maybe one day left available. March.
Somebody was actually come up and clean your place up, didn't you?
I was hoping he might give me a hand, but that,
He did.
I see that's,
He thought people were going
Didn't go to work.
clean it up for him. That's how they do. They call and then we
Okay.
schedule the dumpster to be delivered, and then we schedule to pick
And
it up.
into the counter, I'm telling you.
Okay. All right. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting?
no move.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Message, or motion passed. I got a work session, I got 2 work sessions on 123. I'm going to take the first work session, which was at noon.
Yep.
I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So move, Mayor.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then the next work session, which I think start time was 1 o'clock. I'll take a motion to approve those minutes.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Fetty,
Yep, I
are you on?
I was made aware today by somebody, and I'm not gonna mention anybody's name that may
Okay.
be aware of this, but we
Typo?
missed a meeting
Oh.
that was not in the packet, so it will be on the next packet,
The
guaranteed.
LCD work session.
Oh, that one,
On
okay.
January 20th.
Okay, we'll put it on.
Yeah, we'll get it on the packet the
Yeah.
next meeting.
I wonder who reminded you of that.
I don't, Lenny,
Lenny.
you believe that?
That would have been my guess.
I'll take the 5th on that.
Hey, that reminds me, before we get into new business, I want to remind everybody that the next meeting will be on Tuesday, the 18th, due to a holiday on the 17th, but also on the 18th that night over at the Liberty Theater will be a Main Street open house that everybody is invited to.
Is that after our meetings?
After the meeting?
It's from 6 to 8, so if we don't have to, certain things on, the meeting should be short that night.
Okay, that'd be nice to go over as a whole.
Mr. Committee, before I forget, 'cause I will, there's a app that you can get, and it's a microphone, you hook up to your computer, and the AI summarizes your meetings for you. We did our retreat for our law firm, and it's breaks it out for the minutes, so I didn't know if you wanted to, I can.
Are you talking about autopilot?
It's something like that, yeah, but it's, I mean,
What's it
it's
do?
incredible.
If
You
you,
go on the whole
yeah,
meeting, and then end of the meeting, it sends you a summary of the meeting.
yeah, it'll do your meeting minutes and everything for you. Otter, if-
The last work session, or workshop I went up with AIM, they talked about it a little bit, and I
Did
thought,
they?
you know, and I wanted to kind of get some more information on stuff like that, but eventually what happens, it starts recognizing everybody's name,
Yeah.
or when they say something,
Their
it'll recognize
voice.
who it is.
I use it for all of my meetings.
And,
Say your meeting first,
Yeah.
and then it'll tie
so,
it to you.
that's something I definitely want to look in now.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
Say there's some versions that are cheaper than.
Lenny has a
See what we can
voice of
do.
his own.
Why
So-
did you have to say me? I know you looked
With-
right at me like, I'm
just-
getting ready to say, I know how that works.
Moving on.
Oh,
Might have been
I
wrong.
guarantee Lenny knows how that
Moving
works.
on.
With autopilot, Fetty,
Autopilot.
yeah, with autopilot,
Thanks, Dale, yeah.
yeah, with autopilot, you can put in the link to the YouTube, and it'll actually do it live as the meeting's going on.
I think that's what we have.
Yeah.
A little round thing. That, yep.
Wow.
Very
You're getting old, Mayor. You don't know all that stuff.
Sorry, I'm getting old.
We won't miss a thing. Everything will be.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. Sounds like we're moving on up too.
Yeah, we are.
We may be
Okay.
AI.
Somebody is, but I think we're
Well,
moving back.
under new business, I jumped the gun there. I introduced Miss Becca Lovern. Mr. Fetty, we got a supplement to the Code of Ordinance.
All right, once again, we do this every year. Any orders that we have the previous year in '24, we have to put them into our code of ordinance. American Legal Publishing, they're the ones that put it in, and basically this is an ordinance that allows them to do that, and this is ordinance number 2-2025.
Questions for Mr. Fetty? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2-2025 and for adoption as well, as long as the vote is unanimous.
So move.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed.
All right, thank you.
Motion carries.
And
Cancellation of warrants.
yes, just like with utilities, anything 2 years older that we've written checks and people didn't cash those, we have to write those off. Close at the list because you'll see Lenny Fryman's on there for $200 that he lost his checks, but, you know.
Probably true.
They got some names and different things on those, but those are the ones that somehow lost their check, didn't cash them. So they're over 2 years old, which basically the check's no good anyway. We have to write them
Right.
off. Now, if they by chance come in and say, hey, you know, I lost or something like that, then we'll do what we can to reimburse them still, so.
Okay.
But we do this every year as well.
Yep.
I think the total is $941.88. Any questions? I get a motion to approve the cancellation of warrants totaling $941.88.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Weldon, we got the DORA resolution for the Main Street Wine Walk.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please, the Common Council. First of all, take a look at the bottom of this resolution. If you guys, do you guys like the way that I've done that with the yay, nay, abstain? I'm gonna include that from now on if you guys are okay with that, just so you can mark it. I thought that was the best way to do that.
Is this additional cost for this?
Hey, holler on him now.
Hey, look, I'm
Just
ready.
kidding. Well,
Thank you.
I do like that though. I do
Yeah,
like it.
thank you.
Yeah.
Nay.
And I will say with the wine walk, it's actually way more complicated than anyone could possibly believe. But the good thing is, you know, we were the first DORA in the whole state, and you guys should compliment yourselves because they've used the work that you guys did to form your DORA as a model for everyone else. ATC has really used it to help set up other doors and how it works. But when you have a wine walk, it's a weird square peg round hole situation. You got a dedicated area where people can bring alcohol in and out of places, but then you've got places that don't have liquor license that
Right.
want to give out alcohol, which is actually the same as selling alcohol. So how do we do all that? Have a fun event, but you know, make sure the most people that are possible can participate. We were able to do that. Work very closely with Alcohol Tobacco Commission in Indianapolis. They're terrific to work with. Just had to get real creative, and then of course Becca Lovern was amazing, and all of our businesses are amazing, as you already know. So what I did was I included, because I'd like to just make it easier for the next time, included all the businesses that we currently have that don't have a liquor license that could possibly participate. That's the list you have.
Okay.
And not all these folks even have asked to participate or wanted to. I just wanted to cover them just in case.
It
And
doesn't obligate them or anything.
doesn't obligate them at all. They're not asking to serve alcohol even if they're on here. Some of them are. I think we're gonna have like 7 businesses that aren't traditional. We got bars or restaurants, which is really good. We had very few last time because it was too close to the door. We just weren't able to figure it out last time. And then the only, the X factor variable is when you see on this map, the 2 people that really want to participate that aren't in the current door, one's Opal House. They already have a liquor license and they do weddings and stuff and they serve. But they're outside of our door map, and then the other is 47025 Boutique. The issue for both of those is they're too close to church property, church and schools. You can't, if you're closer than 200 feet, you have to get permission per the statute, and that would just be a neighborly thing to do anyway. 47025 is actually 200 feet from 3 churches, so I don't know if that's going to happen, and they're pretty far away. We definitely are trying because we want everyone to be able to participate. Just they might be too far away, but Opal House is one that's close enough to where if we can pull it off, I'll probably bring back to you a resolution where you could add them to the door permanent, just because they're basically just right on the other side of the street from the door. If 2 churches will agree and they don't have a problem with it, then I'd move to add them permanently. But for here, it's just if we can get permission from the churches, then we would add 1 or both of these for this wine walk. If not, we won't add either one. And then this just forms as a template. So I wanted to make it clear that if we don't get the permissions, we're not going to add them. So your vote will include that caveat. And then again, all these businesses can participate, but they don't have to.
So is this resolution just for the upcoming wine walk or all?
It's a template to allow them to be added for any.
Okay.
Because the statute says we can add them by resolution, and then there's a secondary permission with ATC. So I've got them filling out a bunch of different forms. I have drafted an indemnification form on behalf of Main Street saying, hey, we promise, we've got all permission, we got insurance. A lot of these guys are really helping us out because they're not gonna buy the wine themselves. They're gonna have a brewery or winery come in, which is great because then the brewery or winery gets the liquor license, they already have it, and then they kind of take responsibility for serving the alcohol. And like you have Hamerlink, I don't think Hamerlink's participating, but if Scott wanted to the next time, then not only are we having people drive the business to Hamerlink, but whoever he chooses as his brewery or winery also gets a booth. So we like that format, and we're kind of going to try to talk encouraging businesses to use a brewery or winery just because it's better for a business owner. Then you're like, hey, I'm not handing out wine. Brewery is, and we're going to have a list that will help people connect with. This wine walk's going to be really good. We're excited.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Simply because I get calls from other people that would like to be included, but they're outside of the DORA. We start going and we start making exceptions. I'm nothing against the Opal House. I have no idea what they're going to be doing. I mean, I think it's a reception hall, so I don't know. It's not it's not a retail stop or anything like that. But we go and add that. Where's it going to stop? We had designed our DORA very strategically to try not to include as little of residential as we can. But if we start going and adding a person or a spot that is outside of that DORA, I just don't know where it stops. And I think that eventually it's going to, I don't know. I don't, and it's nothing against any of those, Opal House, whoever. I'm just not sure. I don't know.
That's a good
I
point.
get your point there, Mayor, because, I've been asked from the Eagles and from the American Legion about joining,
I have
being
too.
inside the door.
And that's where I was going to go.
That's
but
exactly what I was thinking when this was being read.
Our whole intention with the DORA was to keep it,
In a downtown business area. so to
keep it,
speak.
you know, manageable.
Yeah.
And I think that if we say, well, you know, this one's just across the street from the Dora, well, then the next one may be just across the street from that one, and,
Yeah.
and then we keep adding, and I don't want to not include our businesses that want to be a part. I just don't know where it stops.
That's a good point, and Your Honor, we've gotten compliments because most cities have multiple doors
They
that are
do.
chopped up and
They
they're
do,
far from each other, and they like ours because it's just one. So it's easier to make sure everyone's safe, no underage people are drinking, no one's walking through your neighborhood to get from one area to the other, so that's a good
Or,
consideration.
you know, they're doing stuff they shouldn't in your alley, you
Yeah.
know? That was the whole strategic reasoning when we designed the Dora, that, you know, geographic area. I just, I don't know, I don't have a vote in this. I'm just saying what phone calls I've gotten. Tony's brought up a couple of them. There's even more. And I just think we need to be careful.
And an alternative would be, if you guys, you know, you can vote to approve this as it is, or you can vote to approve it without the expansion. And we can invite the Eagles to come have a beer truck. You know, we can, as long as it's inside the current Dora, then nonprofits can come in and serve. So, I mean, that's something that
Yeah.
we've always wanted to do.
Well, and I think that's fine I think a lot of places are looking to, you know, hey, if I leave my place, I'd like to be able to just walk to the next place.
If you can't finish your beer between the Eagles.
Well, there's a lot of them,
Street.
there's a lot of them that walk into the Eagles and the Legion with their door cups expecting to be served, you know, as if they're in the door, and you can't fill that cup.
That's not a good thing. That means they're leaving the door, and that's illegal.
Yeah,
Well, the cup's empty, right, Tony?
yeah.
Bone dry.
Empty cup.
Yeah.
But
That's why
I don't know, that's, watch out, I think, because of the phone calls and the requests I've gotten, and I, you know, I don't know. Is the only difference on this the Opal House?
Well, we thought about the 47025 boutique too, but it's just, it's 3 churches and it's even farther. And we have so many churches and so many residents, it's just really hard. It was hard to make the map we already had, honestly.
But then we have to realign that anyway on the first time.
Yeah, I'm looking here, I just see wine walk, there's no date. It does have a time that is cut off.
This is not for a particular wine walk.
Oh,
This is for
just
any.
wine walks.
That's a resolution for
That's what I
all.
was
All
asking
wine
earlier.
walks.
Because we
Yes.
run into this every time they have their wine walks.
Okay.
And we're trying to encompass it into one resolution that will cover it.
Yeah,
Am I
it's hard.
saying that right?
Yeah, yes, sir. It's hard to get everyone to file their paperwork with ATC in time and figure out all the ins and outs. See, I mean, we could cross out anything that's not in the Dora, still include all the non-bar restaurants that are inside it. That way, if Hamer Link or Brook and Kenzie or something, they don't want to do it this time, but if they didn't want to do it next time, they could, or they could even do it this time. We could scrap the map, we could cut the map off altogether.
Is this time,
Just the first part's the only time sensitive.
when is the next
Friday.
one? Oh,
Yeah.
this Friday?
Yep.
So
Yep.
the only thing I would really recommend to approve would just be that, hey, it's
Businesses.
okay for the businesses that aren't bars.
Okay.
And then table the
Yeah,
extension.
yeah.
I would like you guys to take a look at that and see what you think as well, but I get the phone calls on it, but
I've heard
you
it
know,
a few times.
I'm sure you guys have, and I just don't want to, I just don't know where it would stop.
Yep, I get it.
So we want to do that, we just motion to approve it, excluding the expansion mapping, excluding businesses J and P. And then everyone else would be fine. Yep.
But the Lawrenceburg Home
That's
Boutique is,
that's,
that's up by Brook and Kenzie.
well, okay. Which one's the,
47025 isn't on here.
Okay, I don't know where, the boutique is right there at the old funeral home, right here today.
Oh, that one.
Yes.
That's what I was calling. 'Cause I
Mr.
thought
Ricketts'
Hummingbird was-
establishment, yes,
I was calling Hummingbird.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, Huntingburg, it is Huntingburg. I'm sorry.
Where is the 47025
It's the main funeral home,
The Lawrenceburg Home Boutique.
Yeah,
which is amazing. It's one of our nicest.
Oh, yeah, really nice.
right here in the corner.
But it doesn't even come up when you Google it.
Yeah, I think it comes up as 47025 maybe, or really.
I thought it come up as,
It's Lawrenceburg Home Boutique. I think that's what it's
Yeah.
under.
I guess where it comes,
Um,
47025.
We have a new resolution for us to sign, like tomorrow, or how?
We'll just cross it out and take off the map,
We can say with changes.
and it'll be in the minutes too.
Yep.
And then,
But I think we need to take it, I'd like for you guys to take it under advisement if we need to, if you guys feel it's appropriate or not. I don't, think we need to take some look at it. But for the sake of this Friday is what we're talking about?
I see,
Okay. I think for the sake of this Friday, then, what we're asking for is an approval of resolution number 1 minus, under number 4, subtracting J and P at this time.
Not to be difficult, has anyone spoke with Opal House to see if they've already bought up a bunch of?
they're fine either way. I mean, they thought that they told Becca that they thought they were already in the door, so we just need to talk to them. They're great. I mean, they're an amazing business. I think they're gonna be fine either way because they do a lot of things internally, and it's just a matter of walking across the street with a beverage. So they've always been terrific. They'll understand that because of the churches, we tried, but it's worth you guys taking another look at it. I don't think it's gonna hurt them. They are always flexible.
So for
They were probably
clarification,
aware that
we're,
gonna do
for
it.
next Friday's purposes only, we're approving what's already currently in our Dora district, right? We're gonna have a conversation about a possible
The
expansion.
expansion will be
Okay,
taken.
Yep.
Is that
I'm,
discussed?
I'm good with that.
Does that sound fair to everybody?
Yep.
Okay, so, like I said, the motion on the floor would be to approve resolution number 1-2025 with the exception of 4, J, and P at this point.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, and we'll make sure we get the other part tabled so we can have a discussion on expansion.
I just go with that.
Okay. Comments? Comments from the audience? Yes, sir.
I hope Dell can help me out, because I know a lot about this, but now I feel like I don't know much about this whole DORA thing, because what did you guys just pass?
So what we did was,
I'm confused.
when you start the DORA, your first responsibility is to define the geographic boundaries.
Right,
And
right.
our first goal was it can't be within 200 feet of a school or a church.
Right.
We worked really hard, and we got it to where it was kind of catty corner from Hamline, but Hamline said fine, we agree with that, they did a letter, so
Right.
we avoided all other schools and churches. Then you have your initial list of licensed permittees, so that's strong piece of proof.
Right.
People with
a liquor
Liquor
license.
Liquor license, yeah.
Because the first layer is businesses that normally you buy beer, you have to drink it inside there, now you can take it out, or you can bring beer inside. That's the first layer. That's actually the toughest layer because their liquor license is so important to them. It's really the lifeblood of their business and profits. We want to make sure they're very safe. So we worked really hard on that end. Then we've got the second layer really is our beer trucks, like our events. We have nonprofits or businesses, staff. That's a temporary permittee that you do a one-time form for, and we are allowed to add them on a case-by-case basis. So those were the two existing kind of square peg, square holes. This is a round peg and a square hole in the sense that these are one-time servers of alcohol, which in ATC's mind is the same as selling it, but they are not licensed liquor license to sell alcohol. So if you're Hammer Lake, you say, hey, I'd like to, this sounds like fun, I'd like to give out alcohol, give out wine, as part of the scavenger hunt. Well, what we want to do as city council to protect you is to make sure that you're licensed for ATC for that event, to give out the alcohol and to be in the door. So it's really two permissions, because now you're not just giving out alcohol, you're giving it out to a person and giving them the permission to take it out of your store into the street, maybe another store. So that's why it was complicated. We just wanted to make sure your businesses are safe, and we were able to find a solution.
Does that negate having to get a license from, a temporary license from the, so you still have to do all that?
Yeah, but we're
Okay,
streamlining
gotcha.
it to where, let's say, and that's why I say that the pairing with a brewery and a winery is really good, because if you brought a winery in, the winery fills out the one-page form that we sign off on, send to ATC. Now you're approved for 1 day to give out alcohol and be inside the DORA, and you're using their liquor license.
Right.
So if you wanted to do it yourself, you would have to do that one-page form to be in the DORA, and a second form to have a 1 day liquor license, basically.
Gotcha.
So you'd have to have two things,
Right.
which are both very doable. You just need a lot of
Right.
lead time to do that.
Well, we're participating this Friday, but we're not going to do alcohol.
Okay.
We're doing mocktails.
Yeah, type of thing, yeah.
That sounds like
Okay, I
alcohol. What is that?
Huh?
What is that called you're putting out?
A mocktail?
Mocktail,
Yeah, what's a mocktail?
fake cocktail.
Oh,
No, like,
You're not coming to my place?
Lenny won't be stopping.
That's okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I get it now. Thanks.
No, thank you.
I don't drink either, Mayor, so I wouldn't know what all that is.
Mocktails like, it's like a Shirley Temple, actually. You can,
I thought it was some kind of coffee drink.
it could be, I guess. Any other comments? All right, if not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So move.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mayor, I'd like to give Mr. Fetty a kudos. I see those investments in there.
What's that?
Oh, you see some of those?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, I got a bunch of investment reports and everything.
Yeah. Kudos to you and your staff on investing.
Yep.
A lot of good stuff.
yep. Oh, for the retreat, good,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. How about a motion to approve all payroll reports and checks once properly certified?
So move, Mayor.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mayor,
Yes.
I
Got one?
got another, it's a small one.
Yeah, we got,
The transition between Brittany and Jillian, there was some adjustments that we made, from I think it was like April through June or whatever, some of the different adjustments that we actually made. They never got in one of the claim packets. State Board of Accounts saw that, or basically, well, really our key fund basically told us that with
Okay.
Keystone. And they said these are the adjustments that did not make a packet for 24, and they need a
approval.
motion.
You want to do that in a separate one, or you
Yep,
want to
yep,
do it
yep.
with this one?
No, just a separate one. This
Okay.
is a separate one.
Well, let me get a motion
Oh,
to
did
approve.
we already do the other?
Yeah, we did the motion.
Did we get to?
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
you stopped me after the approval, did
We was
you?
gonna say all,
You didn't want me to adjourn?
I didn't want you to adjourn.
Oh, okay. Can I get a motion to approve the report that Mr. Fetty is talking about on the transition between April and June?
So move.
Yeah, I saw that.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Hey,
Dylan?
adjournment, LCC opens front doors tomorrow.
Yes, that's right.
Great news.
What is it?
Great
LCC.
news.
Well, they're supposed to be locked till tomorrow. I think it's the 4th, or maybe it was today. Was today the first day?
No, it's tomorrow, I believe.
Mr. Fetty's already been through, so,
Oh, I've been through it, but it's,
yeah.
yeah.
It looks nice.
Second, you second this?
No, I'm first in it.
No, Dylan first.
No, you're not.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Hey, quite a few to sign over here.
Betty, what have you got over here?
Not a problem, Mayor.